Missanelli Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. And we have ventured into the world of Super Bowl chat. I cannot believe it. One game has flipped this whole thing. And I'm not even talking about locally. I'm talking about nationally. The respect that the Eagles are getting after beating the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm reading a couple of these projection charts. The Eagles are just a notch below the Lions, which is what I said yesterday. There was that tier after the Lions and before the rest of the league, and the Eagles are right there. I'm looking at one that says this is the Super Bowl now, Super Bowl favorites. Chiefs, Lions, Bills, Eagles ahead of the Ravens. Bill Colarulo, who was tooting his horn yesterday, is all about it. You know, we went over some statistics and said, well, the Commanders have a better chance to win a division, but not the ones I've seen today. Apparently overnight a poll has been taken, and the Eagles have surged up the poll because they're now ahead of the likes of the Commanders and the Vikings and the Falcons and the 49ers and the Packers. So we're talking about now just maintain. The way it looks now, they're on a collision course for the NFC Championship game with the Detroit Lions. And who was thinking that a couple weeks ago? We were all caught up in, oh, my God, this season, I don't know where it's going to go. They're not getting respected. Everybody's criticizing the head coach. Everybody's criticizing the quarterback. They're not good enough, blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, the head coach has the monkey off his back. The quarterback is now one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league. The coordinators, who we doubted early in the year, are now brilliant, and especially the defensive coordinator, where the metrics are fantastic. So I guess we got to address this now. We have to address with their Eagle fans. Listen, I know that Philadelphia sports fans are these fans that don't want to go too far. They always want to protect themselves. They always don't want to, put themselves out there and jinx themselves or set themselves up for a colossal disappointment when it doesn't happen. So I want to gauge where the fan base is right now with the respect for the Eagles actually doing something this year. Bill Colarulo is here. Ray Dunn is here. Bill, let's go to you because you were kind of insufferable yesterday with your admiration for the head coach, more than your admiration for the actual team. But this is a topic we need to discuss today. I need to get the fan base engaged on whether this is a reality or whether this is just whipped cream icing on top of a sponge cake. What is it?
Whipped cream ice cream on top of a
whipped
sponge?
Cream icing.
Oh, icing on top of a sponge.
Or as a lot of people would say, icing, which I don't get at all. But go ahead, tell me.
We say a lot of things wrong. This team is absolutely a contender. There's no reason for fans not to be bought in with this football team. And I understand you still have the heartbreak of the way last season ended. It's a different team. It's a different coaching staff with regard to the coordinators. It's different personnel. But more importantly, it's a different NFC. Because outside of the Detroit Lions, which everyone would agree right now are the cream of the crop, there's not a lot of teams that you would look at in the NFC and say, yes, they are powerhouses. There's no way that the Philadelphia Eagles can win a playoff game. There's no way that they can get to a Super Bowl. This team, the Philadelphia Eagles, are a top 8 offense, and they're a top 7 defense right now. This is real. So when you look at the NFC as a whole and you think, well, what teams would give them trouble? Well, they've already beat the Packers. The San Francisco 49ers look decimated with injuries and everything else. Maybe they're going to be able to turn a corner. The Cowboys are done already. I'm not buying the Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold. They're okay, but are you afraid of them? Really, the only team that you should be concerned about is the Detroit Lions, and there's a lot of season left. So I think fans should buy in. This is a true Super Bowl contender. And don't take our word for it. Look at the Super Bowl odds, Mike. The Philadelphia Eagles right now have the 3rd best odds, according to Vegas, to win the Super Bowl in the NFC, behind only the Detroit Lions and, surprisingly, the San Francisco 49ers they still have with better odds, which shocks me. So buy in, man. Buy in, Philadelphia. Let's have some fun. You talked about with the Phillies, the Negadelphia mindset, people not wanting to get hurt. And I get it. You look at last season. Look how it ended after that start. It's a different team. Buy in, enjoy it. We look forward all season to the NFL, or all offseason, I should say, to the NFL. And now it's here. And guess what? You got a pretty damn good team. A pretty damn good team, Mike.
Well, I listen. You know me. I don't go to the other side unless I'm convinced to go to the other side. I'm not like a lot of Philadelphia fans who protect themselves. I just look at it as reality. I need a lot more substance for me to buy into this. I gotta be honest with you. I'm not denying it, because right now it does look like they're the second best team in the NFC. But I need to see a lot more than one game over the Cincinnati Bengals, if you know what I'm saying. So we're on two different plateaus here. You're bought in. There's no question.
I'm bought in.
You're bought in. I am, okay. I saw what I saw. That was impressive. But I need a lot more, because I see a stumble coming. And I wonder what the reaction is when the stumble comes. And I think the stumble's coming maybe against the Rams, maybe against the Steelers. One of those games is going to be a stumble. And then we're going to go back to saying, well, are they good enough with this head coach, with this quarterback? It's going to happen. So you just got to ride out a season. Now, am I feeling good about the fact that they're the second best team? Yeah. Do I think that they're as good as the Lions? No. And in a match of an NFC title game, if they have to play in Detroit, I don't think they would win that game. But they could convince me otherwise with a steady stream of impressive wins here.
This is why I'm bought in, and I get where you're coming from. But this offseason, when we looked at this team and we looked at the roster, there was a few question marks. On offense, there was no denying the amount of weapons that you had. But what were the question marks? The question marks were, well, how is Cam Jurgens going to adjust to center? How's your right guard play going to be? And then most importantly, how's your starting quarterback? Is he the 2023 guy or is he the 2022? Well, I think Cam Jurgens has answered the bell. He's fine at center. At right guard, Mekhi Becton and even Tyler Steen have looked very good. So now you go to the quarterback. To start the season, I had my concerns with Jalen Hurts. The turnovers were a huge issue. But the last 3 weeks, if this guy has truly figured it out and he's starting to feel comfortable in the Kellen Moore offense, and they're starting to realize the way to win football games is to lean on your running game, allow Jalen Hurts then to pick his spots to AJ and Devontae. There's no questions for me on this offense. I feel great about the offense. Well, what were the other concerns? The defense. To start the year, they were in the bottom of almost every single category. They now sit in the top 10 of almost every single category. And it's because of guys like Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell and even Nolan Smith and these young players starting to show that they can play. So I look at this young defense and think, they're only going to get better. They're only going to get better as this season goes forward. That's why I'm buying in, because all the questions I had this offseason have been answered and will continue to get answered and hopefully improve.
I can't deny that. But what I think is, first and foremost, what marks this team right now is how they have settled in on offense. Now, a lot of when we judged them as, they're not good, Sirianni's not good enough, was without their two wide receivers. So since they have come back, for instance, the numbers indicate it. Like in the first 4 games, Hurts averaged 33 pass attempts per game because that's the way they thought they had to do it. But they have now settled into, we are a run-first team, which lessens the load on Hurts. He's now averaging 19.7 passes per game, while his efficiency has gone through the roof. And during his 3-game win streak, he's completing 71% of his passes. So what does that indicate? It indicates that they have settled into a base where their running attack completely balances the fact that he doesn't have to take chances.
I think you're right. I think you're right. It's not, we talked last week about the term game manager, and I think he's more than a game manager. You saw that against the Bengals, that when you need big plays, Jalen Hurts can deliver. That pass to Devontae Smith, we talked about, what was it, over 50 air yards. But it's just they're figuring out the recipe to success, and I think fans should buy in, and I'm curious how they feel on this. I am curious how our fan base is right now after 7 games, 8 weeks, and not only looking at the Eagles, but looking around the NFL. Really, are there any teams where you say to yourself, man, yeah, we're done? Like last year, you kind of knew when the 49ers came to town and they dominated the Eagles, even though the Eagles were 10-1, you kind of knew at that point, wow, the Eagles aren't on their level. There's no shot for this team. I don't see that happening this season. Especially, I know the Lions are the team you're worried about. You don't have to play them. You probably won't have to play them until an NFC Championship game. I'll worry about it then. So I think you should feel pretty good right now.
All right, let's see. Ray, I mean, you've heard two different perspectives here. Where are you as we go into our first break?
I'll be honest with you. I'm starting to move towards the Bill camp on this one.
Oh, look at this.
Bring it, Ray.
He's moving towards the Bill camp.
I love it, Ray.
He's never in the Bill camp.
Yeah, I mean, look at the rest of the NFL. Like that to me right now, I look at the rest of the NFC.
Oh, my God. We're actually thinking Super Bowl. 610-632-0975 is how you get in to the Mike Missanelli Show. I want to hear from you today. What camp are you in? Are you buying into the Super Bowl hype? All they have to do is beat the Lions to get to the Super Bowl. Mike Missanelli Show. Back after this.